Jim. Guess what? We're back and we are talking live on YouTube about what a week that was. Basically, it's a new thing I'm doing where I talk about the news from the last week and discuss it, and then you join in as well with the chat. So feel free to join in on the chat. I've got my little screen set up here so I can see what you're writing. All being well, doesn't always work, but this is like GBTV. It's early days yet, so I haven't figured out the format for this. But we do seem to be getting a little bit better as we go along. So there's a few topics. Storms, princes, more than one, Donald Trump, COVID-19, Olympics, and a few bits and pieces extra. Anything random we come up with, which is what we did last week. We come up with a lot of random stuff last week. Got to try and keep it to about half an hour, 45 minutes, because I think any longer than that and it gets a little bit, just kind of peters out into nothing. But feel free to join in the conversation. So first up, we're going to discuss, or rather we're going to talk about, this is the week that Kylie and Jason might be coming back to Neighbours. Why, you ask? I don't really care. I can't remember last time I watched Neighbours. I think last time I watched Neighbours, Kylie and Jason were still in it. So if they did come back and I watched it, it'd be like they never went away, so I wouldn't know what happened in between. Although obviously I know they both had a spectacular pop careers, and Jason Donovan went on to be a stage actor and singer and had a problem with drugs, and Kylie is a survivor of cancer. But other than that, I've no idea what happened to them at all. So yeah, Kylie and Jason coming back to Neighbours, because apparently the British like Neighbours more than the Australians like Neighbours, and it's Channel 5 who currently broadcast Neighbours and pay for it, basically. So they've now said they don't want to broadcast it anymore, and Australians are like, well, we're not paying for it. So it looks like it's the end of Neighbours. It's a tragedy. It's very sad. If I could be bothered caring about it, which I don't. But anyway, yeah, Neighbours. We're going to miss it. Talking of missing things, and this is an unbelievable story. Last weekend, a sex offender, ergo him, escaped from prison. Paul Robinson, nothing to do with Neighbours, by the way. Paul Robson, sorry, not Robinson. Nothing to do with Neighbours, just coincidence. Escaped from a prison, has been since recaught, but was free for a few days. A bit warned by the police and everyone, do not approach him. He's very dangerous. He's in for very horrendous sexual offences. He's in for a long time, but he's escaped from prison. And what prison's he in? He's in an open prison. Open prison, that's where they've put people who don't pay the TV licence, shoplifters, people who don't pay the taxes, well-behaved prisoners who've done things serious but have shown remorse. This guy escapes, and they're telling everyone, don't approach him. He is very dangerous. What's he doing in an open prison? Questions need to be asked. Not by me, though, because I don't do things like that. I was amused, one was amused, when I saw this tweet, which, I must admit, amused me immensely. What's going on here? Get rid of that one. I do like being amused. Oh, it's the yeah, it's telling me I'm online. Brilliant. Brilliant. Well done, you. Yeah, you are now on live. Yeah, I know I'm online. I'm online. Anyway, so this really amused me. It is a parody account from Elizabeth Windsor. Can one withdraw 12 million from a NatWest cash point? Asking for a friend, which is very, very funny. Morning, Paul. And it made me chuckle rather a lot. It's obviously referencing Prince Andrew, whom has basically... I've lost a picture of Prince Andrew, but don't matter, we'll keep that up. Basically, he's agreed an out-of-court settlement over the allegations made to him by the woman in America to do with Epstein and Maxwell and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, no. If you've not done anything, you don't come to a 6-figure or 7-figure agreement with someone to stop them mentioning it. You go to court and prove that you're innocent. And yeah, okay, it's royal family and all that kind of stuff, but they're not above the law. So unless, of course, they can pay. Hello, 316, the Candyman. So, yeah, I'm a bit naffed off about the whole thing, but the parody Queen UK account definitely summed it up perfectly. Can one withdraw 12 million from NatWest Cash Point asking for a friend? But it was double trouble for the princes this week. Although Andrew seems to have dodged it, but he's not really dodged it. Charles, he's in trouble now. Not directly, but indirectly. And the Queen is not impressed. She's not amused. Charles, his charity, allegedly have set up a, a visa, some kind of visa for someone from Asia or somewhere, whom had given over £1 million to one of Charles's charities. And it's basically honours for cash for honours, or honours for cash, or whatever it is. But to do with charity and Prince Charles and all that kind of thing. And I'm a little bit confused as to what giving money to a charity would make you suddenly think that you could get some kind of favouritism or honours or something. It's just very odd. So yeah, double trouble for the Queen this week. Prince Charles and Prince Andrew just messing up monumentally. God, families, eh? Can't live with them, can't live without them. Talking of families, more families that are in trouble, or more family that are in trouble at the moment, and it's a former president of the United States of America. We are talking, of course, Donald Trump and his kids, who are going to be questioned by American police and authorities over irregularities regarding their business concerns. What? Are they insinuating that the former president may or may not be honest, trustworthy, reliable? No, surely not. Good evening, Vector. Yeah, I have no idea what's going on with that. I know that when he became president, his daughter and his son, they basically took over the day-to-day running of the companies, because you're not allowed to be president and run a company. So whether it's got something to do with that, maybe he interfered with the running of the companies or used his presidential status illegally. We don't know. It's all speculation and conjecture and alleged at the moment. Don't forget, if you've got any comments to make about what we're talking about or anything else that's in the news this week, feel free to join in the chat. We've had 3 people so far, Paul, Candyman and Vector, but obviously you can join in as and when. So, Trump, he's a mad leader, you know. A mad leader. He was anyway. We've got a mad leader. We call him Boris Johnson. He's now decided that the lateral flow tests, or the ones that you do at home that are free, are soon no longer going to be free. He's also decided that you're going to have to pay for other tests as well. So, hello Trevor. There's a lot of people saying hello, not a lot of people saying anything else. And the problem is, if you have to pay for lateral flow tests, people are not going to do them. They're not going to go, they've got the virus, and they're going to spread it, particularly if they are vaccinated. If you're not vaccinated, it's important that you do know that you've got the virus, so you can react accordingly. But apparently, very soon, even if you get the virus and you get a positive test, you can still go to work and carry on as normal. Because what could possibly go wrong? I mean, the Omicron variant is quite straightforward and quite simple, and isn't necessarily as vicious as the other one. Hello, Jim. Okay. However, stopping mobile testing and everything, there's a new variant coming, and it is called Deltacron, and it is a variant which is rather dangerous. It spreads like Omicron, but is as powerful and as deadly as the Delta virus. And if we're stopping all these tests and we're letting people fly in from countries without isolating or doing tests or anything like that, we could be basically digging ourselves a massive hole to chuck ourselves in. We've already been there. Tests, masks, that's all we need, and we can manage it perfectly well, but you take all that away and it's just going to be absolute carnage. Elder Cron, very funny. I hate Big Bad Boris. I think he's a foolish little man. That's a contradiction. Big Bad, little. And I heard that at the end of February, if you have COVID, you can go to it. Yeah, exactly. They're on about... Yeah, it doesn't matter if you've got COVID. It doesn't matter if you spread it around. He's going for herd immunity, which he was trying to go for earlier. And I suppose if everyone gets the Omicron variant, then that would mean that more people would be less likely to catch this new Deltacron variant. It's got a posher name than that, but we'll just go with Deltacron. But it's still a challenging, risky thing to do. But we'll see. I could be sat here in a month's time going, well, that went well, didn't it? Deltacron, gone. Or I could be in hospital bed dying. You just don't know, do you? And you could be in the bed next to me. Hopefully that way, because I don't want you on that side, because I can't bend my head that way properly. Oh, I don't want to look at you, do I? Yeah, so you can be that way, and yeah, that's fine. Anyway, it's actually a juxtaposition. Well, there's no right and wrong, is there? Let's be honest. No matter what you do, you're going to be. Well, there's no right or wrong. I mean, look at Europe at the minute, and other countries as well. They're having a hell of a time of it, including China. China. This is not thrown together, you know. This is actually rehearsed. It's not. It's thrown together. The Winter Olympics are on, and woohoo, England, United Kingdom, whatever the hell we're called, we're gonna get 2 medals at least. Woohoo! In curling. Now the only curling I do is in the bathroom, and it's not very pleasant. No one wants to watch that. No, I'm not on about that. I'm on about the curling. You know, emoji curly, not the you dirty gets. Anyway, we're going to win some medals, but this is apparently the worst Winter Olympics we've ever had. But why wouldn't it be? Because we don't do winter sports in England. However, it's not as bad as this poor Russian girl who's only 15, who is called Kamito Valefia. And she was alleged to have failed a drugs test, which meant that there was no presentation for the team event of the skating. Although the drugs test was months ago, it didn't filter through, and someone didn't find out until after they'd won this team event. So then there was speculation about whether or not she'd be able to carry on because obviously she's failed a drug test. And then it was decided she could carry on. I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? Is the FIA taking over the Olympic Committee? There's a joke there that you might get or might not get. Either way, the poor girl went out and did her solo skating, and they I don't watch it, but they do more than one event, and then all the points are totted up, and then obviously the medals are given out. But they said, we'll let her compete, but if she wins a medal, we won't award the medals. So you're like, right, so should she compete or shouldn't she compete? It makes no sense. She's either banned or she's not banned. So if she's competing, she's not banned. But if she is banned, she can't compete. It does not compute. So I'm like, well, you know, see how it goes. So she does quite well, and she's leading up to the last event, which was the freestyle skating. So she goes out, and it's a disaster for her. I think the nerves just got... She's 15, for God's sake. So the nerves got better of her. She fell over a few times, as you can see there. And she comes off, and she's absolutely beside herself with grief and sorrow. And what does the coach do? They ask her, what the hell was that? What went wrong? Why didn't you concentrate? Come on, the girl is 15, and she's had a hell of a week, 2 weeks. I'm glad I don't live in Russia. No one's commenting on this. I thought they would do. I'll be honest with you. But anyway, her falling over a few times meant that she went from first to fourth, which meant she was out the medals. And therefore, they did a medal presentation. I'm like, you can't treat people like this. If she'd have won a medal, and they've let her compete, even though she's failed a drug test, and they know she's failed a drug test, but they've let her compete, she should get the medal. It's not rocket science. If it's deemed that she hasn't deserved to compete because she failed the drugs test, then she shouldn't have been skating. She should have been sent home. So, yeah, like I say, FIA, that's what it's ringing off. If you don't know what I'm talking about, basically Formula One, the last lap of the last race in the 2020 season. Look it up in the history books. It's amazing. And this is very similar, however, completely different. But she's a Russian athlete. And we all know that the Russian leader is a splendid gentleman by the name of Vladimir Putin. And he has a spectacular table. We saw it last week where he had the... who was it? It was the French president, Macron, who was at one end of the table, and Putin was at the other end of the table. And they had to communicate by semaphore. And they had one of them loud hailer things where they go kind of thing, because the table is that big. And there was a picture that we put up last week with two ice skaters on it, actually ice skating. I didn't know whether that was real or not, but anyway, it was a very good meme. We like memes. It's absolutely ridiculous, unfair, completely outraged. Excellent, vector, tango. Anyway, this table comes out, and Putin is loving this at the moment because the whole world is lining up to sit at this table. To be fair, we don't even have to leave our countries to sit at this table. It's that big. I mean, I can see the end of it here. It's just out of camera shot. It's huge. And if he doesn't like you, he sits you at this table. This, for example, is the German Foreign Secretary or something. No, German Chancellor, I think it was. Because it's a bloke now. They changed. I don't even know if it's or not, but they changed it. However, if you're a completely bonkers president like Putin and Trump and technically Boris, and you think that COVID is a joke and all that kind of stuff, then why the hell would you want to sit at a big long table when COVID doesn't exist? So you get to shake Putin's hand. That's some Brazilian, the super sensible Brazilian president. You know, the one who says COVID doesn't exist and's caught it twice and been hospitalised once with it. The one who says we don't need the rainforests, we need to chop them down so we can grow more palm oil and make more cows pasture. That one. Well, he's gone to Russia and he's got to shake the hand of Putin. I mean, I don't know where that hand's been, but I wouldn't want to be shaking it, I'll be honest with you. So yeah, favouritism. Again, you should always treat people equally. Which brings us back to bumbling Boris. Boris has said that obviously with Ukraine being threatened by Putin's armies, that we've got to be very careful that if anything goes wrong and they do invade, then we need to be very serious. We need to do some sanctions, and we have a tough package of sanctions ready if Russia chooses war. I'm not sure Russia really cares about sanctions, but anyway, let's just go with it. The sanctions basically include no more trade with Russia, which means we don't get gas and we don't get petrol, so they'll go up in price. Not that we notice, to be fair, because it's already gone up too much anyway. And all money and assets would be frozen from Russia. So I'm thinking, okay, that seems reasonable enough. But if China invades Taiwan, it's a very similar thing. In fact, it's less similar because Taiwan hasn't been part of China for decades, whereas Ukraine was part of the Soviet bloc up to like the 80s. So basically what they're saying is Putin's saying that he wants Ukraine at the least not to join NATO. So he doesn't want NATO on his border, but he'd prefer it to be closer aligned with Russia, either as part of Russia or have a government that support Russia rather than NATO. Taiwan isn't got nothing to do with anything like that. China just want it. So, China invade Taiwan, for example. What do? Well, we have to do the same as we do with the Russian government, which is a tough package of sanctions, ready if China chooses war. We've got to treat everyone the same. So that means freezing assets, no more trade with China, which means we get no more fake goods. We won't be able to buy stuff off the Wish app. And a lot of these property developments that are going on around the country will be axed because there'll be no money coming through. Hello, Wigan Council, I hope you're watching. So, there's another option, which is China falls out with us, as in Europe, America and all that, because we didn't send diplomats over and we are threatening them with sanctions because they are threatening, allegedly, Taiwan. So they could freeze assets coming over and say, right, we're not going to send any more money to the West, we're going to keep it for ourselves, and blah, blah, blah. So, no more Wish.com, I know, I'm sorry guys. I do apologise about that, but, you know, things need to be done and we need to take things seriously. Very seriously indeed. I've had a question off Paul. What do you think of the increase in electric and gas? Gas and electric have gone up. Well, gas has gone up because worldwide gas prices have gone up, as has oil, which you can make gas from oil, but mostly it's petrol, and petrol is stupidly expensive now. It's around about £1.50, between £1.43.9 to £1.50 a litre for unleaded petrol. And this is a cheaper petrol now because that's what they said they were going to do, and make the other old petrol, which they replaced last year, more expensive. So God knows how much that is. So, but it's a worldwide thing. What's basically happened is the countries making the gas, well not making, but getting the gas and the oil out of the ground, because of the pandemic for 2 years, they've wound down what they're doing so that the demand is still there, for little demand is still there for what they're making, so that they don't lose the price. But the problem is the whole world's suddenly switched back on again, and they can't up the power, and they can't up the getting the petrol out quick enough. And now they're thinking, well, why should we? Because everyone's paying these top prices. So in a way, we've kind of shot ourselves in the foot with that. But it is a worldwide thing, and I follow Twitter channels on in Australia and in America, and another one which I've discovered on YouTube, who I can't remember the name of. It's like orange and black logo, and basically they're saying it's worldwide. Everywhere, all the countries are complaining about rising prices of stuff. So there's not a lot we can do about that. But I think if Russia do go to war with Ukraine, I think gas prices will go up considerably because there's that gas pipe coming from Russia into Europe. I'm not saying we get it, but if Europe's not getting that gas, then they'll want more gas, and they'll end up going to where we get our gas from, and that'll just put the price up even more. So by this time next year, we could be on 100% price increase and at war with Russia, with a big hole in the ground in Wigan because we've fallen out with China at the same time. Anyway, we digress. We got anything written? Just got no. The weather. Well, what can we say about the weather? It's been bonkers. Now, I don't think it's been particularly not windy since October, November, and it's been very wet as well. Because I do a lot of filming, as you know, for YouTube, for the Let's Walk Around videos from last year. And I go out on a Sunday and I film these places. And I've not been able to go out this year yet because every Sunday has been either pouring down with rain or really, really windy. And obviously we've had real windy stuff recently, what with that thing there, which is the Millennium Dome, which has been stripped of its coverings. Now, the covering of the Millennium Dome, which is now called, it's not called Millennium Dome now, is it? What's it called? The O2 Arena, or an NCP car park as it was for a short time, was built in 1998, or started to be built in 1998, ready for opening for the Millennium in the year 2000. And that is a canvas covering. So think of a massive posh tent, and then think of it being left out in all the elements for nearly 25 years. And what's going to happen to it? it's going to deteriorate. Then we get adverse weather, really strange weather, and what happens then? It rips. As soon as it rips, wallop, it's gone. So that's why that's probably happened. I'm not an engineer, I don't know these things for definite, but I'd be surprised if I was wrong. And you'll probably see it in the news over the next few days, but that's probably what's happened. It's basically, we've had all the heat, obviously it'll have had snow on it, it'll have had, millions of tons of rain on it, probably people climbing all over it as well, doing maintenance checks and all that kind of thing. So, yeah, exactly. So it's getting old, and when old things get old, they tear. A bit like my skin. That's a joke, by the way. I'm not that old yet, but I'm getting there. I don't know even why I said that. But yeah, the weather's been dreadful, and you see these people who are absolute nutters. I was watching the news, and they showed the weather in Weston-super-Mare, and identified it. I thought, that's Weston-super-Mare, because I've been there, done a video. And then they showed New Brighton, and I'm like, yeah, I know that, because I filmed it, I recognise it. And they showed somewhere else, I can't remember where it was now. And I'm like, yeah, been there, done that, filmed that. But New Brighton, there were these 3 guys who had to be told off by the Coast Guards for swimming in the stormwater. I mean, come on. What we need to do is, we need to stop this PC stuff. And if people want to do stuff like that, let them. We don't need them in the gene pool. This is why we're getting people like Boris becoming president, Prime Minister, because we're letting people breed who probably shouldn't breed, if you get me. In the older days, they'd end up doing something stupid, like blowing the face off by mixing petrol with diesel and while smoking a cigarette. Well, all that's gone now. So yeah, unfortunately, we end up with stuff like this, bad weather. Anyway, we need natural selection. Yeah, exactly. And we're just protecting everybody at the moment. I mean, some people need protecting, don't get me wrong. But yeah. So there you go then. That's all the topics I wanted to cover today. And last week I couldn't shut you guys up. You've just whittering on and on and on and asking questions and commenting. It was great. And this week we've had nothing. Never mind. That's how it goes sometimes. There might be something better on the telly. Is Coronation Street still on? That would explain a lot, to be fair. Everyone loves Coronation Street. So we'll have a quick summary, shall we? We will go back to... Oh, yeah. Why a dangerous sex offender was in an open prison and was just able to walk out and not come back. What is that about? That needs to be looked into a bit more than it probably has been. The Queen having double trouble. Andrew basically bailing himself out financially of a situation that he was in. And Prince Charles indirectly involved in possible fraud. But we did get the funniest tweet of the week this week. In fact, the funniest tweet of the year so far, I think. From a parody account. Can one withdraw £12 million from a NatWest cash point asking for a friend? Is superb. Blame the weather. Blame the weather for everything. I hate the royal family. I don't hate the royal family, but I don't think they help themselves sometimes. And I think recently they've definitely not helped themselves at all. We've discussed Putin's oversized table and favouritism as well. So if he doesn't like you, you sit at that table. If he does like you, then that's what you do. I mean, hopefully they give each other COVID, and that would solve a couple of problems, wouldn't it? Especially if it's the new, what's it called? Deltacron variant. That would be good. We've also discussed Donald Trump, possible fraud charges coming towards him, being questioned by the police. The poor teenager, 15-year-old at the Olympics, who's had a week to forget, but was put in a position she shouldn't have been put in, particularly considering her age. Absolutely ridiculous. Boris deciding that we don't need testing anymore. To be fair, if you stop testing, this is what Trump said, wasn't it? Because someone said when he was president, are you concerned that the this is obviously when he was president, so it was a while ago. Are you concerned that the cases are going up rapidly for COVID in America? And he went, well, not really, he says, because it's the only sensible thing he ever said. He said, we're testing considerably more people. So if you test more people, you're going to find more cases of it. What we need to do, which I didn't agree with, he said, what we need to do is we need to stop testing people and then there'll be no new cases, which does make sense. And is that what Boris is going for? Because now it's getting harder to get hold of these test kits. Less people will be able to test, and therefore the numbers will go down. And if people are vaccinated, the chances are a lot of them won't know they've got it. So yeah, it's all a bit up in the air. That is quite a large. It's a very large table. Compensating for something, says Paul. Your words, not mine, Mr. Putin. It wasn't me who said that. I just read it out without reading it first, so I do apologise, Mr. Putin. I'm sure you're suitably well. I nearly said enamoured then. That's not quite the word I was looking for. And then, of course, we started on the most serious story of the week, which is that Kylie and Jason may well be returning for the last few episodes of Neighbours as the show is being scrapped, as Channel 5 has decided they no longer wish to show it on TV. Unless Sky buy it, which I can't see happening, or Amazon Prime buy it. Can you imagine if Amazon Prime buy it? Oh my god, and the budget goes from like 500 Australian dollars an episode to like $1 billion Australian dollars an episode. You know, it's all sci-fi in it, the Albert Square. Ramsey Street gets invaded by, 3D aliens and all this kind of stuff, and there's explosions going off everywhere, and it just becomes this, mad car chases and smashing through the windows of people's houses and things like that. It would be impressive, but I don't think Amazon are going to buy Neighbours. So, sadly, it's gone. Well, it's not yet. But, like I say, I haven't watched it since they were in it, so it doesn't really bother me. So that's it. I don't think we had many technical difficulties tonight, which is amazing. We've had no dropped frames. I said we'd do it for about half an hour. We're on 32 minutes, so that's good. We've not had much interaction from you guys, but that's not my fault. And we'll see what happens next week. So anyway, big shout out to Vector, Paul, Candyman, I think that's it. Oh, Jim, Banny, for your comments and your interaction. It is greatly appreciated. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and we will see you again another time. So, yeah, that was, what a week that was, 18th of February, 2022. I hate it when people say 2022, it does me bloody head in. You don't say 1922, do you? When you say 1922, it's bonkers. Anyway, that's another thing for another day. Meow, please. I'm not going to meow because I've not done anything with the cat. That sounds wrong. Cat does reviews, and then when I finish, I go, "That's all for now." Meow, like that. Instead of saying bye, you see, because it's a cat thing, and she doesn't do star. She does paws because she's a cat. Doesn't know what star is, so she probably doesn't even know what paws are. But anyway, there you go. So yeah, thank you for watching. That was what a week that was, and I will see you again next week for the week that hasn't been yet. Yes, that works. Until next time.